if you're not going to grab hold of these spiritual principles, we're going to have, that's the only kind of congressman you're going to have if they don't understand that ultimately our fundamental business is to secure the God-given unalienable rights. And I'll guarantee there's not 5 congressmen up there that even understand what I've just told you. There certainly aren't more than 5 that are working to secure those God-given unalienable rights. I seem to kind of hit a wall here without hitting a conclusion. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but probably less than I anticipated. Let me do one other thing. Let me give you one other thing. What's the difference between, we had one of the speakers talk about socialism. What's the foundation for socialism? The foundation for socialism is that it's based on a collectivist form of government. All right? What does that mean? When you try to discern between different kinds of government, for example, if you compare a monarchy to an aristocracy to the Republican form of government, which is expressly guaranteed both in the Texas Constitution and in the federal Constitution, and a democracy, for example, or communism, socialism, what is the primary distinguishing factor between those different forms of government? And the answer is, who holds sovereign power? That's the answer. That's the first answer every single time. In a monarchy, the king holds sovereign power. He is the sovereign. One man, mono. One man holds sovereign power. We have a monarchy. When you have a limited group and an elite group who holds sovereign power, you have an aristocracy. The aristocracy is a limited group. It could be 50, it could be 100, it could be 535, as we have in Congress right now. Congress and the Senate. An aristocracy. They hold sovereign power. When you go to a collectivist form of government, the presumption is that the collective holds sovereign power. Now, a lot of people would be very much surprised to understand that democracy is a collectivist form of government. It is fundamentally identical to communism. It's fundamentally identical to socialism. The fundamental principle of democracy is that we, the people, are sovereign, but we're not sovereign as individuals. We are sovereign as a single group. The group is sovereign, but within that group, you have no God-given unalienable rights. There is an old definition, there's an old joke definition of democracy, and the definition is 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner tonight. All right? Yeah, that's right. And everybody gets a good laugh out of it because we know that the 2 wolves are going to vote to eat the sheep. And everyone looks at it and they think it's merely a question of mathematics. 2 is greater than 1. That's all. No, it's not. That's not what it's about. What it's about is the sheep is not perceived to have God-given unalienable rights. If the sheep has the God-given unalienable rights, and unalienable means not only no one can take them from you, but you can't even give them up. If the sheep has the God-given unalienable right to life, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 wolves voting. We want to have you for dinner. The sheep says, too bad. I have a God-given unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can't have my life. That applies to you also. When you are deemed under the Declaration of Independence to be an individual sovereign, to have been individually endowed by your Creator with certain unalienable rights, government can't hardly lay a glove on you. But what they've done, under the guise of the New Deal, we have changed this country from the Republican form of government that's expressly guaranteed at Article 4, Section 4, Constitution of the United States, and Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution. I don't know if anyone has a copy of the Texas Constitution with them, but if you read the Texas Constitution, Article 1 is the Bill of Rights, Section 2 deals with our form of government, and expressly mentions the Republican form of government. It says, in part, I can't quote it, it says, the people of Texas at all times have the right to abolish or change their government any way they want, except they've got to have a Republican form of government. It is the only absolute that's in the Texas Constitution. You must have a republican form of government. What do you got? You have a democracy. The word democracy doesn't even appear in the Texas Constitution. The word democracy doesn't appear in the Constitution of the United States. We have been conditioned to accept an alternative system of government, an alternative philosophy where the collective, we the people, are still sovereign, but we are not sovereign as individuals, we are sovereign as a collective. It's a subtle point, but it's powerful, and it goes to why the government thinks they can do anything they want to you, or to you, or to you. They can do it because you, without those God-given unalienable rights, you're just another animal on the global plantation. Some of you might think that describing the people as animals is, and again, hyperbole. I'm going too far with that. Couldn't possibly be true. This goes to the spiritual warfare. It goes all the way back to Genesis 1:26 through 28, where God says on the sixth day, it says on the sixth day, that's what in the creation, God created man in his image and gave man dominion over the animals. We and we alone are made in God's image. And we are given dominion over the animals, and it says so right there in the Bible. That means we can't be animals consistent with the Jewish and Christian and perhaps even Muslim faith. I haven't read the Muslim faith, I haven't studied it, but their fundamental principles may be identical. At Genesis 9, verse 6, they explain why you can't kill a man. And you can't because he's made in God's image. That's why murder is a crime. We can kill all the cattle we want. We can kill all the chickens we want. We can hunt and fish and do whatever we want, but you can't lawfully murder another man. Why? He's made in God's image. But only man is made in God's image. Animals are not. When your government reduces you to the status of animals, they are stripping you of those God-given unalienable rights. So far as they pass these laws and you accept them, the government has moved us into the status of cattle, into the status of subjects. And I know how bizarre that sounds to many people, but we use that argument against the Attorney General of the state of Texas, where they'd spent, again, $6 years and $500,000 million on that lawsuit. And the first thing they did is went dead silent for 5 months. And we'd been getting certified mail from them every 2 to 4 weeks. They went dead silent for 5 months. Then they came back and they spent another 5 months trying to negotiate a settlement with us. We refused to settle, and finally they just dropped the case. We haven't heard anything from them now, and it'll be 3 years this November. Point. This isn't just theory. This isn't just some wild idea. If you can use an argument like this to stop a suit by the Attorney General of the state of Texas, where they've invested $6 years and $500,000 million, this is powerful stuff. This is spiritual warfare. And if you want to engage in it, and you're caught in it, whether you know it or not, if you don't know it, they're winning. If you don't understand that it's spiritual warfare, the other side is winning. If you want to understand it, one of the things you're going to do is start with that Declaration of Independence. You'll go back to those second and third sentence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and then that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. When your government, once again, when you put enough pressure on your government to compel them to once again secure your God-given unalienable rights, all of the problems that you perceive right now in politics and economics are going to disappear. Until you get hold of that spiritual battle, until you get engaged in that spiritual battle, you're headed for a lot of trouble. Choice is yours. I thank you for listening. Have a good day.